Destination mark.
Holy shit. So before we get to part 3 where I talk about Spyro, there's something going on with Crash that I have to discuss. If you remember from the last video, I talked about all the ways Crash can keep going with games after Insane. And when bringing up a Crash Team Racing remaster, I said this. My take on the matter? And while there is great potential for a CTR remaster, I don't think it's needed. At least not right now. The only other game out of the Crash series I could ever see getting remastered is CTR, because it falls under a different genre and isn't another platformer. But again, it's not needed at this current moment because there would be too many remasters. But then I also said this. If it happened a few years down the line, would I lose my shit? Of course. Would I pre-order and full-on support it? Most definitely. Like I said, there is great potential here. Just imagine CTR with Insane's art style, the graphical upgrade. Imagine how much faster and more frantic they can make the gameplay. Imagine online multiplayer. That's the main thing I keep hearing that people want, and that would be awesome. And wouldn't you know it, we're getting CTR Nitro-Fueled, a remaster from Beanox, not Vicarious Visions, of one of the greatest racing games to come out of the 90s. Now, I'm not just hyped for Nitro-Fueled because it looks drop-dead gorgeous. There's actually a lot more to this remaster than meets the eye, and that's what I want to talk about in this quick Comeback Saga follow-up. So before we begin, I need to recommend 2 videos for you to watch first, as I'll be borrowing ideas and thoughts from these. The Nitro-Fueled podcast I did with Miharu the Fox and Canadian Guy A, and a video from Canadian Guy himself about why he's worried for the future of Crash. Don't worry, it's not as controversial as it sounds. He's just speaking his mind about the series formula like I have done before, so it's worth the watch. With that said, let me just spit out the main topic of this video straight up. I think Nitro-Fueled can be the perfect transition between the remasters we've been getting and the new games we can get. Don't get me wrong, all the ideas I suggested from the last video are still on the table and I still believe in them, as ridiculous as some of them might sound. But this remaster is doing something I didn't even consider when talking about CTR. Adding post-Naughty Dog content into a remaster of a Naughty Dog game. We've already seen it happen. In the trailer we can see Crash driving in different karts, an idea first implemented into tag team racing. But take a look at these karts. They're all from Crash Nitro Kart. Not only is it a neat homage to Vivi, who made Nitro Kart and handled the last remaster, it's showing that for once, a Crash developer isn't afraid to acknowledge the Bandicoot's past and make nice prominent visual references to previous games. I have to stress visual references because we've gotten verbal jokes about past games in past games before.
Wrath of Cortex didn't do as well as we'd hoped, and
He's very self-conscious about being nobody bad guy. He had body briefly in Twinsanity, but that was no fun for nobody.
But never have we seen Crash's past celebrated in such a way as this. And by the way, while I joked about this in the last video, does this indeed sound familiar at all? It's what Nintendo does with the Mario Kart games all the time. Look at Mario Kart 8's racetracks, an airport course inspired by Sunshine, a past Mario game, a cloudy airship course inspired by Galaxy, a past game. There are 3 Rainbow Roads in this one, 2 of which are straight up remakes of past variants from past installments. So it's commonplace for Mario, but because of all the different Crash racing games being handled by vastly different developers, paying homage to other games within CTR didn't sound like a feasible idea at the time. But since they're pulling it off now, I for one welcome it. And this goes beyond karts. Beanox has already confirmed that we're getting much more content than just the base CTR experience. New tracks, skins, and yes, karts as well, and hopefully new characters, but I'll touch on that in a minute, are coming to Nitro-Fueled. And this is a great idea for many reasons. First of all, CTR is a pretty short game. If you're not going for everything in adventure mode, the replay value will then be coming exclusively from the multiplayer. But to add all these new things to CTR, Beanox is promising we'll be getting a lot more to play with than we've had before. This will effectively boost Nitro-Fueled's longevity and keep us coming back for more. But the second and most important reason to this video is that adding in new content to CTR can open the gateway for Beanox to reintroduce more post-Naughty Dog stuff, specifically characters. Yeah, it'd be super rad to see Tana, Brio, Koala Kong, and heck, even the Trophy Girls as playable characters. But what about Crunch, or Nina, who by the way was originally going to make her debut in Nitro Kart instead of Crash Purple? You know how I've been saying all this time that we need something to transition Crash from remasters to new games? This could be it. Reintroducing locations and characters that have been mainstays since after Wrath of Cortex could mean transitioning them all over from Nitro-Fueled into whatever new game comes after, without the fear of newcomers being left wondering who these characters are since they weren't in Insane. Not only would it be a true homage in vein of, again, Super Mario Odyssey, where it's more of a culmination project that honors multiple past games, games, rather than a straight base remaster like Insane was. But with said homages and references, we could very well start to see the beginnings of the transitional period. And keep in mind, Beanox has most definitely been taking notes. They know how Insane was handled, they know how Reignited was handled. Hell, they had a small helping hand in Reignited. So by learning from these last two huge remastered collection projects, Beanox can, in one fell swoop, with only one game to remaster, plant the seed that will grow into the end of one saga, the remasters, and the beginning of another. Brand new original games for Crash again. We're already seeing the inklings of it. Now take the reins and go all out with this idea. I don't know what will become of Activision's whole 5-year plan with Crash in the end, but by shooting this project over to Beanox, that means VV can take a close look at how they handle Nitro-Fueled, and then take the reins back and make one hell of a kick-ass new game based off that. It won't have to follow the formula of the old Crash games, because we're all beyond familiar with that now. Yeah, one quick thing about CG's video. I myself wouldn't personally call Crash's linear platforming formula outdated. I'd rather call it simple. It worked back then, and if Insane proved anything, it's that Crash's formula can still work today. But that doesn't mean it should be milked for the sake of keeping that nostalgia. There's a difference between what Beanox is doing, and can do, by playing to our nostalgia for the post-Naughty Dog games by adding certain elements in, that can end up benefiting new games in the long run, and staying safe to what we know Crash Bandicoot to be, and getting even more products that fans won't be satisfied with. Like I said before, this project alone can determine Crash's future. This project alone can determine, paraphrasing from the last video, whether or not Crash Bandicoot will only ever be a token of nostalgia that can't move on due to the fans' outcries or uninspired, safe ideas from the devs, or a powerhouse that effectively came back from a long hiatus, dropped the nostalgia bombs on us all, and then swiftly moved on, transitioning out of the nostalgia-filled remaster period into a future packed with new game after new game like it used to be. It's what we need to see to stay invested, and what the Crash series needs to stay relevant. Whether or not any of this happens is yet to be seen, but for now, let's just treat this as some food for thought. Thanks for watching.